The Chinese government controls the light switch for 57% of Chilean homes. They bought it legally. With your blessing. Sort of. Maria sells fruit on Avenida Abanque in Lima. She's done it for 22 years. Today is like every other day. She doesn't know. And 2,400 kilometers away, Santiago just went dark. Not one city. Not one region. 14 of Chile's 16 regions. The world's largest copper mines stopped. Santiago's metro evacuating passengers in complete darkness. The president declaring a state of emergency. 98% of the population. 19 million people. 7 hours. The cause was a software malfunction in a transmission line protection system. Not a cyber attack, the Chilean government confirmed that. Wait. The most important question is not why the lights went out. The most important question is, who owns the switch? Chile produces 27% of the world's copper supply. That copper is inside your iPhone, inside the Tesla you're thinking about buying, inside the wiring running through your home. When Chile's grid becomes unstable, copper prices move. Every 10% increase in copper price adds $200 to the manufacturing cost of a new car. But copper is just the beginning. I'm going to show you the real number in 60 seconds. And once you see it, you will never look at an electricity bill the same way again. Before we go further, here's exactly what this is built on. CSIS. October 2025. Power moves. Rand. January 2026. China's connected energy systems as a national security risk. Transaction data from Latin Finance and Dialogue Earth. The Chile blackout verified through NPR, CNN, and Wikipedia. All sources in the description. And here is what I genuinely don't know. Whether smart meter data is actively being sent to Chinese servers right now. Whether firmware backdoors exist, that's classified territory. Whether Chile's blackout connects to any of this, it does not, by all available evidence. This entire analysis is based on public data only. That's the honest version. State Grid Corporation of China, 100% owned by the Chinese government, purchased 2 of Chile's 4 electricity distributors. 57% of Chilean consumers. In Peru, 2 Chinese state-owned companies control more than 50% of Lima's electricity distribution. 3 million people. In Brazil, 1,513 kilometers of new transmission lines. Combined investment, over $15 billion. This is not an investment portfolio. This is architecture. Most people look at these deals and see one thing. Foreign investment. A company buys a utility, makes a profit. Standard business. And on the surface, they're right. Enel Peru sold for $3. $1 billion. Luz del Sur went for $3. A $6 billion. Chilquinta in Chile for $2. $2 billion. Bloomberg called it the largest M&A transaction in Peru since 2020. Profitable. Clean. Legitimate transactions. That's the surface reading. But here's what changes everything. Look at who is buying. Not private equity, not pension funds, not multinational corporations, state-owned enterprises. Every single one. State Grid Corporation of China. China, Three Gorges Corporation. China Southern Power Grid. 3 companies. 1 owner. Beijing, Layer 1. Generation. China Three Gorges operates 17 hydroelectric plants and 11 wind farms in Brazil. They also own Luz del Sur in Peru, electricity generation for over 1 million customers in Lima. Layer 2. Transmission. State Grid won the bid to build Brazil's northeast to central transmission corridor. Stop. I need you to look at that bid. They didn't just win it. They offered 9% below the government's maximum price. No Western company even came close. Ask yourself why a state-owned company needs to win a foreign contract that badly. Layer 3. Distribution. The last mile. The cables running directly to your home. In Chile, 57% of consumers. In Lima, more than half of a city of 3 million people. Generation. Transmission. Distribution. In multiple countries. Simultaneously. That's not a portfolio. That's a system. Maria is still selling fruit on Avenida Abancay. The lights are still on. The refrigerator keeping her mangoes cold is still running. She doesn't see any of this. That's exactly the point. Now stop. The number I just showed you, 57% in Chile, 50% in Lima, that's one layer. Multiply it across 3 countries. Across generation, transmission, and distribution. And then there's what goes inside the infrastructure. China supplied 600,000 smart meters to Uruguay in 2021 alone, connected directly to the national telecommunications network. These meters monitor real-time consumption. They reroute power to correct inefficiencies. They are connected to the grid, to the telecom network, and to the companies that supplied them. Oregon State University published research on what these devices can do when compromised. CSIS put it in their October 2025 report. I'm going to read you the exact line in the next section. 3 layers of physical infrastructure, 1 layer of digital infrastructure, all owned or supplied by the same government. That is what $15 billion actually bought. 2010. iPhone 4 launches. That same year, China Three Gorges makes its first acquisition in South American energy. 2012. iPhone 5. State Grid wins its first transmission bid in Brazil. 2017. iPhone 10. State Grid acquires Brazil's largest electricity distributor. 2020. The world is watching its screens. State Grid buys 57% of Chile's electricity distribution network. In 1 year, 2024. iPhone 16. China Southern Power Grid controls more than 50% of Lima's electricity distribution. Every generation of iPhone you've ever owned. A parallel story was being built underneath it. You just couldn't see it. Here is the exact line from the CSIS October 2025 report. Word for word. The risks are further magnified when the malicious actor is not a criminal group but the supplier of the meters, who could have access to zero-day vulnerabilities. The supplier of the meters. That is the specific phrase. Not a hacker. Not a foreign intelligence service. The company that manufactured the device sitting inside the grid. You might be thinking this is a cybersecurity risk. It isn't. Not exactly. Cybersecurity is about data. This is about physical control. Those two things are completely different. Here is the actual connection. A. China owns the distribution network. C. China supplies the smart meters embedded inside that network meters that, according to Oregon State University research, can simulate grid oscillations that trigger shutdowns. B. The company that built the device may carry vulnerabilities that a standard IT scan cannot detect. A doesn't directly threaten B. A controls C, and C is already inside B. That distinction matters more than anything else in this video. Maria doesn't have a smartphone. She doesn't read CSIS reports. She doesn't know the word firmware. But every kilowatt hour she uses is being measured by a device she never chose. That data goes somewhere. Nobody in Lima was asked where. Are you thinking about buying an EV? Are you holding Tesla stock? Ford? GM? I need you to hear the next part. Every government in South America is pushing the same agenda right now. Green energy, solar, wind, hydro, energy independence. The goal is clear. Build enough renewable capacity. Stop depending on fossil fuels. Control your own energy future. Here is the paradox that nobody is saying out loud. The more aggressively South America pursues green energy, the deeper it embeds itself into Chinese infrastructure. CSIS put it directly in their October 2025 report. The countries pushing hardest for green energy are acquiring the most Chinese grid technology, Chinese smart meters, and Chinese transmission equipment. Greener energy, deeper dependence. Read that again. They built this while you were upgrading your phone, while you were buying your first EV, while you were proud of going green. Every decision you made that felt like the right thing made this easier for them. Now here is the hidden winner. Chile, Argentina, Bolivia. The Lithium Triangle. 75% of the world's lithium reserves sit inside these 3 countries. Chinese state-owned companies own or operate the grids that power the mines, extracting that lithium. Control the grid. Control the miners who need the grid to operate. Control the minerals that come out of the ground. That lithium goes into every EV battery, every phone battery, every grid storage system that the United States and Europe need for their own green transition. CSIS calls what China is building a physical sanctions network. Infrastructure levers. The same way Russia used natural gas pipelines against Europe, China is building the physical equivalent. In your backyard, here is what you can actually do with this information. 3 scenarios. The next 12 months. The middle one, 60% probability, is the one you need to prepare for. Let's talk about what this means for your wallet. On a specific timeline, in the next 6 months, copper prices remain structurally elevated. Grid instability in Chile, as demonstrated February 2025, creates investor uncertainty. Every 10% copper increase adds $200 to the manufacturing cost of your next car. In 12 months, if US-China tensions escalate over Taiwan, China's leverage over South American grid infrastructure becomes an active variable. Not theoretical, active. The United States imports approximately $180 billion in goods from Latin America every year. Ports, factories, mines, all running on grids that Chinese companies increasingly maintain. If you hold copper ETFs, this is a direct variable. If you hold Tesla, GM, or Ford battery supply chain risk is already priced into your position. Whether you know it or not, here is the honest framing. The architecture for leverage already exists. Whether it gets used, that is the question nobody can answer yet. 3 scenarios from this point forward. Based on current trajectories. Worst case, 20% probability. Geopolitical crisis triggers China to leverage grid access for pressure on South American governments. Copper and lithium supply disruptions follow. US manufacturers face 6 to 18-month supply shocks with no domestic alternatives ready. Most likely. 60% probability. The status quo continues. China deepens infrastructure control gradually. The US applies diplomatic pressure, but Western companies remain unwilling to match Chinese pricing. South American governments, facing real energy needs, continue accepting Chinese investment. The leverage grows. Quietly, best case, 20% probability. The US and allies fund a credible alternative. CSIS specifically names Sempra, Bechtel, and Enel as companies with history in the region that could return with competitive financing. That requires political will and significant capital that has not materialized yet. Here are 3 things you can actually do. Not protest. Not petition. 3 specific actions that connect directly to your money and your influence. 1. If you don't price copper into your investment thesis, someone else already has. And they're positioned before you. 2. The company's CSIS names as alternatives. Sempra, Bechtel, Enel. They need political cover to return. Without it, the vacuum stays, and China fills vacuums. 3. Southcom's next budget request will tell you if Washington is serious or just talking. Watch the number, not the speech. Maria closes her stall at 8 p.m. The lights go off. A smart meter records the moment, records the consumption, records the pattern. That data goes somewhere. No one in Lima was asked where. You live in America. You don't have Maria's problem. Not yet, but the copper in your walls, the lithium in your car, the electricity in the factories making everything you buy at all runs through the story we just told. The light in Maria's stall came back on the next morning. It always does. Until the day someone decides it shouldn't. That decision right now belongs to a boardroom in Beijing. Not because they took it, because we handed it to them. Sources are linked in the description. CSIS October 2025. RAND January 2026. Latin Finance. Dialogue Earth. NPR and CNN for the Chile blackout. What I genuinely don't know. Whether smart meter data is being transmitted to Chinese servers. Whether firmware backdoors exist. Whether Chile's blackout connects to any of this, it does not by all available evidence. This analysis is 100% public data. If this changed how you see it, share it with someone who should.